Thank you for tuning in to the Airbud Cinematic Universe, a 14-part, totally relevant podcast series chronicling the history and connectivity of the Airbud films. I am one of your hosts. I am AJ Lancaster. We are on episode 2 of the podcast. We are talking Airbud, the Golden Receiver today. I'm joined, as always, with Jeff, Quiz Show Altman. Jeff, how are we doing today?
As always, this is our second one. Yeah, I'm doing great. It's a great day to talk about a dog playing football and also Russians.
And Russians, yes. This is the
also Russians.
There's going to be so much. Oh, this film series. I'm trying to be professional, you prick. Because we do have a guest with us today from What the Show, Bethany Deacon. How are we doing today, Bethany?
You know what? I'm so good. You said that this show is going to contain you, Jeff, and talks about bad family sports movies, and I was immediately sold. If there's 3 things that I love, it's the 2 of you and bad family sports movies.
I wouldn't say this is bad. I would say this is impressive.
You're right. An absolute cinematic masterpiece. I apologize. I
wouldn't say it's a masterpiece, though. I wouldn't say that.
It's somewhere between.
He just said it's impressive. Okay, The Room is impressive.
Yes.
This is impressive. Impressive doesn't necessarily mean good.
But it is
doesn't
impressive.
Necessarily mean bad. But it is impressive.
I'm
in
just
whatever
saying.
It was trying to do.
So, and a couple quick things. The original Airbud movie came out in 1997. This one was a follow-up the year later, coming out in 1998. The budget was $11 million compared to the original film at $7 million. There's a few things that you'll see. I think production-wise that they did raise the stakes a little bit there from movie 1 to movie 2. And that's actually when you go right into the beginning of the movie. They have close-up shots with a fake dog paw, whether it's pressing buttons or putting his hand in the center of the pile there for huddles. It's great stuff. Great stuff in this movie. So
pulling levers that release fish guts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So going into to cast profiles, Kevin Zegers returns as Josh Fram. Josh Fram is the we decided the Captain America of the Airbud franchise, because Airbud's obviously Iron Man.
Can I please be informed as to why he is the Captain America? Because I'm intrigued now.
I mean,
do tell.
He goes through the I'd say probably most of the moral story arcs of the franchise do evolve around Josh. It's kind of the everyman American hero that everybody wants to be. He's a 17 sport athlete at the tender age of 14 years old.
True.
Great, just a good American hero.
So American, in fact, that he is Canadian, and it shows every time he says sorry.
Oh, everybody says sorry.
Everybody said sorry.
It's a real Canadian cast.
Everyone said sorry.
And it's very like American football story. Everyone's like, sorry, over there.
I thought I was the only one to notice that, but I guess I'm not.
Blatantly obvious Canadians, yeah.
So now Wendy Mckenna does not return as Jackie Fram, the mom. They did recast the mom between movies 1 and 2. So in the MCU allegory, that she is kind of the roadie of the story. Originally played by Wendy Mckenna, now played by Cynthia Stevenson. Did you notice the difference there, Jeff?
Cynthia, yeah, I noticed immediately that it was different, but I mean, I noticed that a lot of people didn't look the same. We talked about this a little earlier before the show started. Certain characters from the first film don't look like they did in this one. Yeah. But yes, this absolutely was a recasting. This is the how do you put it? The Don Cheadle replacing Terrence Howard of the Airbud cinematic universe.
Yeah.
She's here to stay. Maybe.
No. Yeah, she is. She does continue in through.
She does.
Also, if it's kind of funny, you go from 5'4" Wendy Mckenna to 6 foot tall Cynthia Stevenson between movies.
Bit of a height difference.
Yeah, if nothing else tipped you off.
Well, I mean, okay, I'm wrong to say she's here to stay because Cynthia Stevenson is not in Airbud World Pup. In Airbud World Pup, we got it's going to be some woman named Chilton Crane, who does not have a link for you to be able to see what her stuff is.
That's a great name, Chilton.
But
Crane.
Cynthia Stevenson does return down the line.
She must have been busy during that one.
Yeah, she look, maybe she was busy. Maybe there are some contract negotiations that broke down. I don't know, but I'm glad that she's here now because we had to see what it was like for a single mother to try to get out of the depths of despair over losing her husband in a freak airplane accident.
As a test pilot. As a test pilot.
Yeah,
because it's so relatable.
He failed that test.
Yeah.
I do really like how they killed off the dad. Like they were sickness, car accident. That's too like mainstream.
No,
we're gonna have him be a test pilot.
These very like minimal budget films talking. It's like, oh yeah, all this stuff, all this gnarly, crazy imagery that's off screen. That way we don't have to spend the money on it. Also, it's a family film, so we don't want to watch that. Some of us do want to watch that, actually. I mean, I'd like
fucking Michael Bay plane crash right at the beginning of Airbud.
I'd like to see the test pilot cut.
Well, and so going into like Josh Fram's dad, this is the movie where his mom starts dating again after his death. Now, I've had a theory with this I presented to Jeff last week. And I want to present this to you, Bethany.
I'm excited.
Now, I haven't seen this in any like cast, writer, director interviews, anything like that. There's not really widely available for the Airbud movies, weirdly enough. But I think the original draft of the script had Airbud, the dog, possessed by the spirit of his dead dad.
That's very fluke. That is a movie.
That's already a movie?
It is a movie. It's called Fluke. I saw it, and that like in the summer when you can go watch kids movies for really cheap. At least I'm pretty sure it's called Fluke. But that is 100% a movie.
It's also definitely called. It's also definitely called Detective Pikachu.
That too, yeah. That is also.
You say Fluke with a K or Fluke with a T?
Fluke with a K, and yes, workaholic Thomas P. Johnson has achieved professional success at the expense of his family life, having neglected his wife Carol and son Brian. After Johnson wrecks his car in a dangerous street race with co-worker Jeff Newman, he finds himself watching his own funeral. Returning to Earth as a dog, Johnson finds his family and struggles to have a positive influence on their life in spite of his canine form, and that came out in '95. So it was a big thing at the time. Dead dads, dog enters the kid's life, makes things better.
Yeah.
And it has Matthew Modine, it has Joker.
So that is Fluke, also a golden retriever. So you're on to something, AJ.
Yeah, if this takes off, we might after we finish through the full ABCU, we might go through and watch Fluke.
Go through and watch Fluke.
I think if it takes off, we should do the MVP series first because here's the deal.
Which
most all of the spin-off DVD films in the Airbuddies series, they're all directed by the same guy. This guy Robert Vince, he also directed Seventh Inning Fetch. After he did besides all the Airbuddies films, he also directed MVP, MVP2, MVP Most Extreme, and also something called Chestnut, which is something random, but he also did Spy Mate, which is another monkey comedy, but it's about a monkey that's also a spy.
This guy likes animals. But isn't Kevin Zegers is in MVP as well, ironically enough.
He totally is.
Probably because he needs a director.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He's also made He's also directed some series of other stuff. This guy, Robert Vince, very big on directing animal-centric things, because after the final entry in the series, Super Buddies, came out in 2013, since then he's directed Monkey Up, Pup Star, Better Together, that's with the two, Pup Star World Tour, Puppy Star Christmas, and Pup Academy, which is a television series on Disney.
We're never going to be done with this.
I think you guys definitely have to get into the Pup Stars, and I would like to return for Pup Star World Tour. I'm booking myself now. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. So,
I think that's a separate series. This guy just loves directing animals. Hey, look, if you find a niche, good for you.
Good for you. Also,
Robert
animals
Vince,
are hard to work with, so like respect.
This guy, Robert
him.
Vince, he's been around since the beginning. He was a producer on the first Airbud. He was a producer on Golden Receiver. He then directed. He also produced and wrote World Pup, and then he directed, produced, and wrote Seventh Inning Fetch. And then he was back to producing and writing Spike's Back. This is his series. This is his baby. He might not have written the original one, but he made it his own. And I think with that,
much like the Russo brothers came in, a little bit later, but then it really kind of became theirs. So I feel like I think really, you should just turn this podcast, not to have your show.
He's the Justin Lin. He's the Justin Lin of the Airbud cinematic universe.
100%.
So we now Robert Vince, herefore referred to as the Allfather.
He is the architect.
Yes. He's the Kevin Feige.
You just need to go through and watch every single thing that this man has directed.
So
He's a legend.
This guy, I bet this guy could get Vin Diesel in. I bet he could get Vin Diesel, vehicle identification number Diesel in to one of these movies for a price. I bet it.
So going into the plot of this movie, the first thing I need to bring up, because there are so many shots like this supporting that. Oh, we have some interference here. Sorry.
It's not interference. It's just a cat jumping on my lap right now.
Cat. We heard you're talking animals.
Yeah. Can she play football?
Get down. No.
So.
What are your football skills, Kitty?
So the opening scene in the film, they're at a professional basketball game, and Josh sees a kid with his dad and gets jealous. Guess what happens? Dad shows up to the basketball game. Airbud uses a fake dog paw to press down the sunroof to open it open. Somehow gets by the security of a professional basketball game. I mean, it's the 90s, so I mean, it's a little bit more lax, and gets on the court.
I feel like you skipped something really major already, because I wrote this down. And that is this whole opening sequence, by the way. The way it's shot is so incredibly disorienting, with all these whip turn camera movements. Everything's at a Dutch angle, like they're trying to be some sort of 90s version of what Thor could have been. Like, do you remember Thor? Everything was like at an angle in that movie. That's like this, but every shot for the first 12 minutes of the film, of an 85-minute film.
Yeah.
It is headache inducing, and it feels like this film started out trying to be Moulin Rouge before Moulin Rouge, with this opening sequence, and it made me want to throw up. But what made me wanted to throw up even more was from the very first close-up shot when they're playing basketball together in the opening credits. You could tell it's not the same dog. This dog's face is so much thicker, and he's such a darker shade of blonde. And it's just, in my head, I'm like, that's not the same dog. And then throughout the movie, I'm also like, that's not even the same dog. That was the earlier dog. Mm-hmm. By the way, there's 4 different dogs credited in this film.
Yes.
This film has Rush, Chase, Zach, and Chance. Thank you guys for the service that you performed in this film. It wouldn't be the same without you.
We salute you.
Keep going. We'll talk more about that later.
Well, that's basically where I was going. Was just the it's totally the dead dad. When Skip had a couple of scenes, and we're gonna go back to those scenes, but when the mom starts dating again, the way the dog's acting, just totally, it's jealous of the men. It just doesn't outright ruin any dates, but he's there. It's just sad look on the dog's face. Like, it could be because Josh is sad, but I think it's because the dog is sad.
The dog is sad. The dog's like, yo, like, what are you doing, Cynthia or Jackie or whatever your name is in this movie? What are you doing? Just, hang out with me. Let me bury some newspapers in your backyard, if you know what I'm saying.
They have a scene.
He is literally burying newspapers in her backyard.
Yeah.
Like, that's not some sort of euphemism. He literally wanted to bury newspapers in her backyard. And
they have a scene where she talks about her love life with him.
She does. Like, am I moving too quickly? Think about the children is basically.
And then there's the dog fucking standing on his hind legs with his paws up above on the roof there. And then he's like, you know what you need? All right, this is the weird thing. Here. I don't know if this is poking
this is the
holes
weird
in it or what.
This is the weird part of the movie.
This is a weird thing. Is that better? Fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that was better.
This is a weird thing that happens is he's so jealous about everything she's doing. And then he's like, I mean, in his mind was he like, maybe what'll make it better for us is if you also are gone and then we could be together forever. Because it's obvious he's dragging her at that point. He then decides to drag her to the docks to drown her ass. And instead, he throws her in the arms of another man.
Yeah.
I feel like the movie was trying to tell us that he was dragging her to him, but I like your theory better, Jeff.
Well, here's the deal. The movie definitely tried to tell us this, but if we're going to stick with the theory that it's the dead dad in the dog, then I think we have to go based off of he wanted to end her, but then it doesn't make any sense. But it's Airbud. What are we doing? Let's keep going.
So, few things that we did skip over. Just the scene at the school, like I can never remember the best friend's name. The weird little best friend. Does anybody have his name off the top of your head?
I think it's.
Okay, the best friend. Could it be Tom Stewart? Could it be Tom? I have the whole cast list for the series up. I just don't have that film. Let me see. I believe it's his friend Tom.
I think he is like Tommy or something. That sounds right.
It's Tom. Yeah. So it's Tommy. So it's Tom.
He delivers a line in this movie that it's not creepy because an 8th grade kid says it.
Is it about the girls? Because I wrote that down because that is hella creepy.
Like it's not creepy because he's an 8th grade kid saying it, but you know that his friends, wherever he is, have that soundbite queued up when he says, and I quote, "Want to know what the best thing about 8th grade is? Girls become women."
Yeah. Girls turn into women. I have that written down. Best thing about the 8th grade. Girls turn into women. Terrible.
This is one of the worst line deliveries. Oh, and wherever he is, he receives endless amounts of shit for...
I think that you need to stop making fun of Tom because as we learned, he has potential.
He does. He have potential.
We know he has potential because he keeps saying he has potential.
Yes. So, scene after that, they go into the vet's office, and here's the thing: the first time that we go into the vet's office, I mean, we have no other exposure to other animals in these movies yet. So we walk in, and my first thought was, I took note of this. I just want to believe that all these animals are athletes. Like, what's that hedgehog do? Is it fast? Like, there's just
him Sonic.
Like, I mean, I'm kind of validated in this later in the movie when we get into the Russians, but yeah, it's just like
We will get into the Russians.
And like with the All Father, with our Kevin Feige, Robert Vince at the helm. I mean, I think all of these animals probably are like magical. Going to the vet's office, the vet doesn't know about the dog that's been on the news about playing basketball, even though he's a vet. So you think you would know about a basketball playing dog?
Well, he's a traveling vet, as we know.
A traveling vet, yes.
That's a common thing, I guess. I know traveling doctors like are a thing, but I don't think traveling vets are a thing. But
just going all over the country from port to port, as Tom says.
So there are such thing as traveling vets. I mean, like they can be ones that like work out of their own, like, vet van or whatever. And then they kind of come and they station themselves normally. It's more like they'll come to your home type thing.
Right.
I don't necessarily think there is, I mean, how do we know? Okay. This isn't our area.
How do we know?
Right. How would we know? Okay. We're a couple of, we're a couple of nobodies who are up to no good, trying to make trouble in this vet's neighborhood. And I think that we need to just let him do his job, because obviously he's doing well enough for himself that he could just be like, all right, Jackie, I'm going to fuck off to Seattle now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He basically has like a small yacht and just travels around on that. Also, where does the vet live? Does he live on his boat, or like does he have a house, you think?
That's actually a really good question, because he's obviously new to town.
Yeah.
He's only around there for like the football season, essentially, which is not very long. It's just the fall semester of this school. And
never
then
see his
he's
house.
he's about to just leave. He must be like in some temporary housing or something, which is even weirder. Because, by the way,
office,
but let's recall when Josh goes to the vet's office and he meets Patrick. Mm-hmm. This is his first interaction. So he's like, "Where is he?" So we don't know. I mean, it couldn't have been that long before that they were at the vet. And he's like, "Where's the doctor?" Because that when he made like the appointment, it was probably with that doctor. He comes in, he's on sabbatical. So let's say it's within a month of the doctor went on sabbatical. So Patrick is supposed to be there for a full year, it sounds like, because the doctor is on sabbatical for a full year. And within a couple of months, he's like, "Nah, shit, I'm out. You guys are gonna have to deal with this on your own."
Well, all because he ran away, and so he's like, "Well, I gotta go. Sorry, Jackie. The open water call and going down to San Diego
right now."
He's a merchant marine veterinarian. He's a hired gun.
This guy, I wrote it down in my notes. This guy is, it's weird. It's like, is he a good guy or is he not? Because he definitely, I mean, we're not going to get through the whole plot like in order at this point. There's definitely a point in which he proposes to Jackie, and when he does, he says it in the way that it's an ultimatum. He says, "I'll go to Seattle, or we do this."
Mm-hmm.
It's either you're with me forever after knowing me for a very brief amount of time, or I'm gone.
It was a brief courtship. I'm just saying.
They knew each other for like 2 months, and then he proposes like a maniac.
Also, what doesn't help is that actor was definitely in a lot of other like Disney Channel movies where he was a bad guy. So he just like gives that bad guy vibes. You're like, am I supposed to trust this guy? Do I want Jackie to run for the hills?
It's the Heartbreak Kid. It's getting to know them over like 6 weeks or something, and then like suddenly it's like, oh, I have to leave or we get married. It's the Heartbreak Kid. They're gonna go on their honeymoon and find out one of them is actually psychotic. I only know that because I just watched both Heartbreak Kids like in the last 2 weeks.
You loser.
One of them was good.
No, my thing though is like when you look at her other dating options, he probably like he had some red flags, but he was definitely the best one. We had Herb, who Herb didn't last long because he was allergic to dogs. Go, buddy. And then Richard and Legal. Richard and Legal was such a fucking creep. And Like I
Yes,
have
I'm
notes
Richard from Legal. That's how you introduce yourself
Is
to
that
the
not,
child
you
of a
don't just
woman you're
always say
going on
your
a date
name and
with.
then what you do?
My name is Richard. I'm from Legal.
And she Richard is the second guy that she brings home from the office, like
Yeah.
from her work, which is just like she's on a great path there. And it's like, oh, but Richard at least knew, or at least could guess that that Josh liked basketball. See, the movie really picks up with the sports aspect when Patrick shows up and throws him a football. So and it's like, oh, we're doing football now. Okay, sweet. So it's a lot of Tommy and Josh playing catch, all this stuff, and before you know it, they've been on 4 dates, and Tommy's like, they've been on 4 dates. You know what that means? Speed dial, and speed dial, if you didn't know, means that 4 dates in, Mom sucked Richard's dick at least 3 times.
I did not know that's what speed dial stood for, but you know what? It was the 90s, so that tracks.
Yeah. Like
what about by the way, I just want to backtrack a bit to the first date. To the guy who I don't remember his name. I don't know if you have notes on it.
Herb.
Oh yeah, Herb.
Yeah.
No, it's Herb. With a
Herb.
Goodbye, Herb. And that was he had allergies, so he decided to just leave. And like, what's
Were
that
they
like
planning
the
on
next
having the
day?
date there, or
What's that like the next day at the office?
Yeah, because once again, she's dating people that she works with.
She works with other people.
She's not blameless in all of this like lack of professionalism, and I think that she's got a few red flags herself.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at her. Like, from when we saw her last, like, she is literally two-faced.
And she's grown. That's the age in which you should be growing. Can I just say, looking at the time in which we've been recording and what we've been focusing on, we are much like the movie in which I time-stamped when the first golden reception was, and it was at 27:45, which is what we are about to be hitting here. So I just think it's appropriate that we too have not really talked about golden receptions yet.
Well, that's not the only thing that we haven't talked about. I wrote a note in here. I'm just trying to find the note here. So there's something that we haven't talked about yet. Of course, since we're all over the place, just like this movie. But it's very important here. This movie frequently forgets that there are Russians in this film trying to steal a dog from a child.
Yep, that's a plot point.
Yeah,
that's a whole ass plot point.
Again, going from the first movie, which is like this story of a very, very ET-esque, right? It's a family film, and it's like, you know, the dog is basically the alien, and again, in ET, it's like divorce, dad's not around anymore. This movie is
complete with
dad died. And so, yeah, just like this sweet family film of like this dog comes in and he heals this broken family. And then the next movie, they're like, would you like some Russians?
Yeah.
Like, why?
So
why is that necessary?
The other thing with 27 minutes to the first reception from the dog, I got to tell you, the first movie, the dog doesn't shoot the basketball until 44 minutes and 38 seconds in.
Wow, that's really... as someone who's not watching a long time, I'm surprised by this.
You mentioned about 27 minutes or whatever for the first like catch. Okay, he's not actually on the football field until around the 40-minute mark.
Yes, I have here marked that it is 42 minutes and 55 seconds in when they say the title that there's a golden receiver.
That's not a golden retriever. That's a golden
receiver. So about
Danny DeVito's voice
halfway through the movie.
So that is definitely Danny DeVito's voice double.
No, but it is the voice of Harvey Bullock in the Batman animated series.
No, I mean like he is also Danny DeVito's voice double. We've probably seen him in all sorts of things.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I like that he was always eating a sandwich.
So yeah,
the dog's like this coach's job is on the line. There's like animal napping Russians. There are so many little side
His
plots in
coach's
this
job
movie.
on the line. So he's like, you guys are going to play football. And he's just eating some fucking
Yeah.
pizza on the sidelines the whole time.
He's very
He eats more than Brad
secret
Pitt in
coach.
the Ocean's movie.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Only he doesn't make it look cool.
I also
Okay.
like that the principal also apparently calls the games with both simultaneously a megaphone and a microphone. Love her. She's great. 10 out of 10.
She also sings the
We'll get to the
anthem.
national anthem. We'll get into the national. But
First
let's talk some football. First of all, like, there's the during the first time where the dog gets on the field with the football and all that stuff, and they're like, well, maybe the basketball playing dog can play football. You get that equipment teaser, and they go home and they make all the equipment, like they're fashioning Buddy his Iron Man Mark 1 suit to go out there and get on a football field for a full contact sport with humans. And it's just, maybe there should be a rule
About
that a
dogs not
dog
playing
playing football.
Ain't no rules says a dog can't play football. Maybe there should be.
Just saying. Also,
Now-
why do they have like an old-timey football helmet in their garage? Is that because his dad was a test pilot? Like he also played football in the 1920s? Like I have questions.
His dad was John Krasinski in Leatherheads.
I think so. But I was like, why would you even have
pull.
that helmet?
Good pull.
Thank you. So yeah, then it gets into like all of the football scenes. We're not talking about a lot of football in this because it's just playing fetch. That's all they're doing.
And it's
By the
so
way,
not
I
exciting.
do want to say this is where the stakes come in for me. When you
During the
say
football?
it's just catch for football, because it's what AJ said in describing the sport. It is a full contact sport. And if this wasn't a movie, that dog would be dead in that championship game. That dog was wrecked on the field. He was straight up marked by a kid.
He gets
In
hit
real life,
twice the entire movie.
Your golden retriever gets loose in the yard, right? Or like gets loose outside and you're trying to get it. You can't catch that mother effer. So I just think it's catch and you're never going to be able to catch it. So like, I think that this is an easier sport for the dog to play than basketball. Like
So
it
it's
takes
also much. It is far more dangerous because in basketball he's just pushing it by his nose. And
I
in
mean,
this one,
sure, but I'm just saying, no one's ever going to
by
catch
a
that dog.
kid. Except for the kids that definitely knocked him on his ass. Had to
Yeah,
have
but
those
that was
kids
just
come
movie
check him out.
magic. In real life, that would have never happened.
There's one 11-player
You're right. He
dog
would have
pile.
died on the field.
Then the one time he was actually hit, the one time he's actually hit, he's hit by a 184-pound cornerback in the 8th grade. And like that kid had to feel
Y'all did
like
go to
Michael
school
fucking Vick.
with a 180 quarterback
Oh
in the
my
8th
God.
grade.
And that kid grew up to become Michael Vick.
I mean,
Oh, Jeff, you had to take it there.
Hey. AJ
I
made
went
the
there
joke
first.
first. I built off of it.
that
He said Michael
team,
Vick first.
yeah.
That's teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work.
So, moving on. So, right before the state championship game, Buddy finally gets kidnapped by the Russians.
Again, they really do forget half the time the Russian subplot.
Yeah.
Like you go good stretches
There
and
are
it's just like
Russians.
family drama. Mom's got a new boyfriend. How does that make Josh feel? And then all of a sudden it's like Russians in an ice cream truck.
It goes to the point where it's like the Mexican hat dance song segues into sad family drama music.
What is their headquarters? Is this an abandoned warehouse? By the way, abandoned warehouses, they don't have signs that just say fish guts. They don't just have a broad note that says fish guts in multiple locations. And also, by the way, when the fish guts get pulled later on, they're surprised there are fish guts. The sign is everywhere.
There's a sign. They literally
Yeah,
like
they spent some time there.
They spend a lot of time. They have a bunch of animals. They're trying to. If you look at the actual, because I couldn't figure out from the actual film why they were trying to steal, other than he's the main part of our act. Act for what? They didn't explain what the act was. I looked
Russian
at the
animal
actual
circus.
Yeah, that's it. Just which one? Just a Russian animal circus. All right, cool. You got it. Are you touring in America?
Just buy these dogs, or like,
are you touring in
animals.
America? Are you going to be bringing them back to Russia? If so, what's your plan to get them over the border? And also, overseas. What is your MO? And also, do you have the money? Because you're in a pretty rundown, abandoned warehouse that somehow never found the time to clean up fish guts. Which, by the way, those all look pretty wet. I'm assuming they're not that old. So I want to know. Yeah, they seem pretty fresh. How did that happen?
Also, how would you not smell that? Wouldn't you smell fish guts?
They're around. By the way, what's his name? What is that guy's name? The male Russian, Popov. When he opens the door when he's watching TV. And he just goes, Natalia, or something or other. And it's just a donkey. And he slams the door. And then you just have to imagine that it's a donkey trying to smash down the door for revenge on this guy at some point.
Again, they didn't have the budget to show that, okay?
I'm glad they didn't, because I think that Popov, Perry Anzalotti, did a great job. By the way, the actress who played his boss, Natalia, who obviously answers to no one. It must be her own circus, of which we've never seen before. That was for the budget. Nora Dunn, she is from Saturday Night Live, and you can tell based on the kind of Russian accent she used.
That's accurate. That is very accurate. I thought it was very, an accurate depiction of what someone from Russia would sound like. Clearly.
I wrote, because it's like the
late 90s, the Flirt and Flouse.
Yeah, I wrote, what did I write here? I wrote, no one questions the very obviously evil Russians that have appeared in the neighborhood to steal what makes us American. Is this a metaphor for the Cold War? I didn't know where I was going with that. It's
pretty perfect there.
Well, they were selling
ice
cream, which is cold, so maybe. I literally just wrote down, why are there Russians? Because that's how I felt about that plot point.
The issue is, I questioned that as well, and I thought I need to go into more detail about it. By the way, I do have another note. I know I'm backtracking real quick. One of my notes here, when we were talking about whether or not the dog was trying to help or hinder his ex-wife in her love life, was I as my wife put it, your son tries to cock block you and your dog tries to get you laid, because she was watching part of the movie with me this morning. So it's very interesting. By the way, Natalia, the Russian, in their opening scene in which she's like hitting the monkey, when Popov comes in, she says, and I quote, "Never interrupt me when I am throttling a performer," which infers, which we could pull from that this series so far, 2 films in, maintains its love of portraying animal abuse.
Yeah.
2 films in a row of just straight up animal abuse.
By the way,
these animals are animal actors, so I'm sure they're probably, some of them, it might be borderline,
who was the director for this movie? Which show?
The director for this one, his name's Richard Martin, also known as
Richard from Legal.
Richard from Legal.
Maybe that was his cameo in the film.
No, it's not.
But his dad, Dick Martin, did have a cameo in the film as a character named Phil. Does anyone remember who Phil is?
No.
He's one of the announcers for the state championship.
Oh, he's the one.
Those guys, the inept announcers at the end. I like them.
By the way, I got a message from your husband saying Michael Vick jokes, you jabroni. Let him know once again that AJ said the Michael Vick joke first, and then I built off of it. So
I'll let him know.
Thank you.
So the other thing that I have in my notes in here, though, is did Joel Schumacher direct the warehouse scenes? I just caught that at the end of my notes there. Because it kind of feels like it sometimes. It is that level of Schumacher Batman, the writing the fish guts on the thing, the cartooniness of it, the art style is even similar. Like the set design is almost Schumacher esque.
I can see that.
It's an entirely different movie.
It was an homage to his style, if nothing else.
All right, so let's keep it moving.
Should we?
I think so. So we get to the state championship, and the team that they're playing, the Giants, they're definitely all grown men. There's nobody on the team.
All they're at the very least college students.
They look very much older than Josh and his team. That's all I got to say.
And you
about
know that they're older because there's no child that hit a dog. That was definitely a full blown adult. This is like saying, for instance here, we have from Airbud, the first one. It was a 9-year-old dog playing a 3-year-old. So much like we had to keep the theme of casting someone much older to play the part of someone young. So we had to do this here. I mean, that they had to do it somewhere. All right. They had to do the late 90s high school rom-com thing of casting a 30-year-old to play a 17-year-old.
Yeah, they do like to do that.
Yeah.
That was the time.
And they're mostly getting owned. Like they are an 8th grade football team playing like a D2 college team the entire movie. For the first half of the movie, then miraculously the dog comes in and saves the day, but
saves the day, almost gets killed. The humans finish the job. Then he's just fine for the big celebration at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. And once again, we see the dogs changing with each scene. The dog that's laying on the ground is different from the one that catches the balls to the one that's happy. It's some good stuff. It's great stuff in here.
Yeah, I know there's only so much you can do because there are so many different shades of, of golden retrievers, but still it was blatantly obvious. I was watching it with Mike, and every time he'd be like, well, that dog is way darker. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I know you need to use a few different dogs to do certain things, and working with animals is not easy. But yeah, it would have been, it just takes you out of the magic a little bit when you can see.
Well, and the first movie they did use one dog, but it was as Jeff had mentioned, they were using a 9-year-old dog to play a 3-year-old dog in a way that sometimes kind of felt like De Niro on The Irishman. It's just the dog is obviously older, it's moving older, as young as you want to say it is, than it is in some of these scenes. The scene, it did at least flow. This movie, the one credit I will give it is that the dogs were the right age for the most part.
True. The dogs, because there are 4 of them. Once again, we thank them for their service. They did a commendable job in the absence of our dearly fallen comrade Airbuddy.
Oh, we forgot to put in our recap what actually happened between Airbuds 1 and 2.
Oh my god! All right. Okay.
Yeah. All
right. So Airbuddy. He had 9 children. Wow. He had this big family. If you go to
different moms, by the way,
different moms, every single one, individual moms. He only had 1 strong shooter per mother, and they all swam through. But Airbud Golden Receiver is actually dedicated to the memory of the original Airbud, who died of cancer in between the films. He not only he got this rare form of cancer and had to have a leg amputated.
Oh no!
And then
he still enjoyed shooting hoops.
And then he died in his sleep. And it's incredibly sad. He was 9, which was about 75 in dog years.
He lived a pretty good life.
In his personal Wikipedia page, if you search Airbuddy, Buddy was a month and 23 days away from celebrating his 10th birthday. Like they made it known how close he was to his 10th birthday, so that way we would know just how much he passed.
But there's something else. The Kids' Choice Awards.
The Kids' Choice Awards. Oh, yes. Oh, right. Okay. So these Kids' Choice Awards in 1998, right? The 1998 Kids' Choice Awards. They were held on April 4th, 1998. That's his last credited appearance. He's credited for himself, the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards.
He went out celebrating.
April 4th, 1998. He died February 10th, 1998.
They lied to millions of children on live television.
They 100% lied.
Well, hold on.
All these children were like, "It's Airbud." Was it one of his kids?
I don't know, but here's the deal. Much like Chadwick Boseman, he was nominated, but posthumously, he did not win.
Both of them were robbed.
Here's the thing: he was nominated again the following year for the same award, and he lost again.
Poor Airbud.
He didn't make that award show though.
Oh man. So they did have a dog in attendance that they were trying to play off.
I don't know. Let me look this up. You know what? Hold on. You keep talking. You keep going. I'm gonna look this up.
While Jeff is looking that up, may I bring up something that was one of my favorite parts of this movie, which obviously we all know that anytime there's a backup quarterback in a movie that the starting quarterback is going to get injured. But before that happens, Josh is chilling on the bench, right, during the shot. And, the coach told him he was going to bench for him or whatever. He's chilling on the bench eating popcorn, and he's literally by himself. There's not a single other person on the bench, because that's the thing. Because offense and defense go out on the field at the same time. There aren't any other kids that wouldn't be playing. I was like, oh, I guess the offense and the defense doesn't. They go out on the field at the same time at this school. He's the only one on the bench eating popcorn. It was great. I had a lot of thoughts and feelings about that scene.
Yeah, they do a lot of great stuff with him. Oh my god. There's actually something I have noted back. Just 1 second. It's so letting everybody who's listening to this know that I have multiple pages of notes on this movie. But as soon as you see the quarterback, Cole is his name. I wrote down the quarterback's name so I knew it for later.
Because you knew he was going down.
I was like, this is totally going to be a Varsity Blues situation.
Without fail. It literally always happens. If there is a movie, a TV show, and they're the second string quarterback, whoever that poor sucker is, that's the starting QB, is going down.
And he is out for the season
with
a dislocated shoulder.
I did also enjoy the big, sentimental moment that the coach gets to have with Josh at the train station. That, obviously is what we've been leading to, which is where we all find out that you can love basketball and football at the same time, which was just such a great. Also, what would he have done though? Like,
as a metaphor for polyamory, of course.
Yeah, obviously. But what would that coach have done if he didn't answer? The way he worded that, there was a lot banking on Josh being like, I can love basketball and football at the same time. What if he would have been like, yeah, no, fuck basketball. I love football now. And he'd be like, damn it, my analogy about your new stepdaddy is ruined.
So here's how the coach knew. If that kid liked liked football that much, he would have been at the game.
True.
So, all right. So I can't find video. However, I did find a couple things.
Okay, hit me with it.
I found a change.org petition called Campaign to Posthumously Award Buddy Star of Airbud with a Kids' Choice Award for Favorite Animal Star. This was created 6 years. This was created 6 years ago. There are 2 comments on it. Righting a Wrong by Gary Parker and from Emily Brownstead. This is important.
They have strong thoughts about it that years later they're trying to do.
Here's the deal. Here's the issue. We have he lost to Salem the cat from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I was gonna say who won. Well, Salem was very beloved, so I kind of understand that. Mike does not agree.
Here's the controversy. Salem, I'm reading this verbatim. Salem, you may remember, did not appear on the show as a real cat. It was instead a puppet. A puppet operated by humans and voiced by actor Nick Bakay. I'm not denying that Nick Bakay is a talented actor, probably even deserving of awards and acclaim. But when choosing a recipient for the award, Favorite Animal Star, the award could have gone to an actual basketball-playing dog or to a guy named Nick.
You know what? I'm with these people that are up in arms about it. They're right. Salem is not a real cat.
I think I have to.
Real dog.
I think it harkens back to the spirit of this franchise, though. It says there ain't nothing in the rules.
It's in the fucking name, AJ.
Cat cannot win. I'm going to be real honest with y'all right now. Did not know that this was an award that the Kids' Choice Awards gave out. Do they still to this day give out favorite animal? How many how many things are animals in? I guess a lot of kids.
So I found this blog post from sbnation.com.
Okay.
And this is from August 1st, 2017.
Okay.
And the headline is, I'm still not over Airbud losing a Kids' Choice Award to the cat from Sabrina the Teenage Witch, a truly tragic mistake. So they're going over some things, and here's the difference. They're explaining the difference here. This might sound harsh, but let's go through some facts that explain why the decision makes absolutely zero sense. 1, he could talk, unrealistic right off the bat. 2, he's actually a person who was turned into a cat, not even a real cat. 3, Salem wasn't even played by a real cat actor. He's a puppet fraud. 4, he's evil, wants to take over the world, and also kind of a creep. Sabrina, you're in a chat room again pretending to be a woman. Salem, I like the attention. 5, is a cat. Now, let's go through Airbud's best attributes. 1, Issa. 2, dog. 3, that. 4, plays. 5, sports. It's a dog that plays sports.
I'm with you. What is this, SB Nation? I'm with you, SB Nation.
It's the Kids' Choice.
The children have spoken. I'm sorry.
Kids don't know any better.
We were those kids.
Yeah, I probably was that child who voted that year. It was 98. There's a good chance of it.
Yeah.
Well, then what was?
You know what? I bet I would have voted for Airbud. I did love Salem, but who else was nominated that year? Do you know?
I'm looking it up right now. Hold on.
Let
me. There was. You got the mouse from Mouse Hunt.
Okay.
and you got Willie from Free Willy 3, the rescue.
Oh shit! Wow. Yeah, that's a stacked year.
That is a stack. That's tough competition. Willie,
but how about this? The following year,
Willie can't attend the award show.
How about this? The following year, the character of Buddy, not even Air Buddy himself, just the character of Buddy was nominated. Okay. So they didn't even have it properly attributed to the real dogs, but they lost as well. They lost again to Salem. 2 years in a row to a puppet.
That son of a bitch.
They also had Wishbone from Wishbone.
Oh, that's a good one.
And they had Babe from Babe, Pig in the City, which is, a classic from the same.
How did Babe not win that year? No offense, buddy.
Because Babe is from the same mind as the guy who made Mad Max Fury Road. I think that the guy had other things on his mind besides campaigning on behalf of a pig.
I mean,
I guess you're right,
but I still think that pig was robbed.
Yeah, I don't disagree. All right, why don't we get back on track.
Well, I think we've covered the full film.
I have a lot
I think
of fun. Good choice of words. What can I say?
We kind of have covered the whole film. Let's backtrack briefly to the Russians were caught, right? And it's interesting because in the film they said we're Russian citizens. Bring us to the Russian embassy. If you read the summary, it says they're arrested and placed into the custody of the Russian embassy as they collide their van. We don't know that they're placed into custody. They just said that they wanted to be with their embassy. By the way, what does this mean for their business? What does it mean for their circus? Are they not going to be able to now that they have no animals? Are these guys? Is it just a front? I mean, I want to know more about Natalia and Popov. I feel like we didn't get enough to know. I feel like we only got a taste.
I feel like we need like a U.S. versus the Russian sequel with them in like an Airbud like Olympics kind of thing, like where they have their animal circus and goes up against like the U.S. team, which is going to be mostly populated by golden retrievers.
It'll be the Rocky. It'll be the no because all the previous dogs are dead. It's gonna be the Creed 2 of the Airbud series. Because that way we can have these Russians having other Russians do their bidding versus one of the sons of Buddy or something like that. I'm probably one of the sons because I'm assuming multiple generations have passed on at this point.
100%.
Yeah, I mean all 9 of Airbuddy's children probably dead right now.
Yeah, theoretically, they gone.
Theoretically.
Yeah, because to his grandchildren. Let's be honest.
That was 9 children. Even if they were brand new, like just born the day he died, that fateful day of February 10th, 1998. They would be 24. They would be 23, 24. Yeah.
Yeah, which for a golden retriever, not likely. Yeah. Not for many dogs is that likely. So can I just go on record here and say rest in peace to the OG Airbuddy and also all his 9 children, most likely.
Yes. And also probably their children too.
And also probably their children. But I hope that the great grandkids are they're doing great wherever they are.
The great grandkids are probably getting up there in years though.
The great grandkids. Hopefully they're young and spry still, right? They gotta be.
Maybe those are the Air Buddies.
They might be the Air Buddies.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
I think with that, I think that's the sode, guys. I don't think.
Yeah.
Can I just
what else can we say?
One more thing. B-52 is the only play these kids know.
No, they also know Red 48, which is really weird because the dog is colorblind.
True, that would, yeah. Yeah, they loved B-52. Someone on the writing staff must be a big B-52s fan or something.
By the way, can we also one other thing I just want to pull up. So when the kid gets injured, right? Josh takes the place of him. And from then on, it's the same kids on the field. And Josh takes the place of that kid Cole. But then there's also Buddy. So they have one extra player the whole time.
Yeah. I think that's a little bit of a...
I believe that's not regulation. I believe there is actually a rule written down about having too many players.
There is. Nothing about the dogs, but there is 100% a rule about having too many players on the field.
It's a 5-year penalty.
Yeah. It's a big no-no, really.
Yeah. So, cool.
So, yeah, with that,
football.
Join us next time for Airbud World Pup. We're getting into the pun part of the series, and I'm so excited for it. The year 2000's Airbud World Pup will be next week's episode. Possible guest next week. Bethany, where can people find you?
They can find me on most Tuesdays at the show with your lovely mug, and sometimes Jeff's there too. They can also find me on other places on the internet, like my Instagram, which is B11Curl, and I guess you can follow me on Twitter, but I don't really use it. So enjoy me not using it, but like follow, I guess, if you want.
Yeah. And Jeff, how about yourself?
You could find me at GEOFF1106. That's Jeff1106. That You can follow me there. I have my channel that's Schmo Me the Money. We do stuff about the movie trivia Schmodown once a week on normally Tuesdays, where we have competitors, after show people, etc. come on and just talk Schmodown. It's a lot of fun. We do other stuff too, trying to figure out some other things. We get to do some live hangouts with our friends from other channels on Friday nights after pay-per-views. Other than that, I mean, yeah, Bethany's right. Every now and then I somehow figure out a way to just muscle my way onto the What the Show streams, whether it's through donations or Juice getting drunk and shooting me the link. So, yeah.
And I am AJ Lancaster at Lancaster_AJ on Twitter. And yeah, What
Very
the Show
original.
seems to be the theme here. And I guess I think that's it, guys. Wait, there's one more thing. Rough.